Here we come. Namaskar, good evening, hello, and welcome to GLIBTALK 2.4 with Sakshi Mandhyan. Thank you so very much. I know you guys had to wait for a few minutes because we were just waiting for others to join in. Thank you so much for taking your time out and joining us on this Sunday evening to talk to Sakshi Mandhyan. Very soon we will be talking, and I'll be introducing formally Sakshi to everyone. Probably a lot of you know about Sakshi already. However, I still say thank you so much for taking this time out. So, GLIBTALK 2.4, first of all, it is not a webinar. We always keep saying this to everyone. This is not a webinar. This is an online talk show. My name is Samrat Ghosh. I'm going to be your host and your host for the evening for the next 1 hour. So please bear with me. I have a hat on my hair because only reason that I'm not too very much inclined towards wearing a hat is just that I can't go to the salon because you know how the situation is outside, right? So we have good amount of 18 people right now, and we will get started immediately. And I would ask Sakshi to quickly introduce herself, and we would request everyone to please be on mute. Whenever you have any questions to ask, please unmute yourself or raise your hand or put your question in the chat box so that we can ask this question to Sakshi directly. Well, just to give you a little background, Glib Talk is a talk show. As I said, my name is Samrat Ghosh. I'm a former radio jockey with Red FM Hyderabad way back in 2008 and 2010. Somehow that passion did not die, and pandemic apparently pushed me to start this initiative where we just get everyone together. So Glib Talk is all about somebody's story of success, somebody's story of failures in life. They have achieved certain things in their life and put that on a canvas and bring it to everybody so that we all have a kind of a learning that we take away. So with this, I will not waste any more time. I will not take and eat up all your patience. Welcome, Sakshi. Welcome to GLIBTALK 2.4. Thank you so very much for taking the time out. I know you are extremely busy. You normally don't do all these free things, but it is your generosity, it is your kindness that you have said yes. I know it's been like over 2 weeks that we have spoken, and finally we decided on a date. Sakshi, please go ahead and give a quick introduction to all our audience for this evening. If you can unmute yourself and talk. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. How are you guys doing? I hope Sunday is bringing you a lot of rejuvenation or maybe a lot of ghar ka kaam. I don't know about you. For me, there was a lot of ghar ka kaam, and Sunday was a day when I started my day with ghar ka pura chharu pocha and safai. And in fact, I was having my prep call with Samrat, and he was like, "Oh my God, what has happened to you? You look so tired and exhausted." And I was like, "Give me some time. I'll come back with a big smile on my face, and everybody will see the shining me." So yeah, that's me juggling between work and my professional life during this pandemic. I think I have been really hardworking in this COVID time, and I have never been this hardworking. I personally feel that. Talking about me, I'm a psychologist and happiness coach. It's been more than 10 years that I'm working as a psychologist and happiness coach. I have formed an organization by the name of Mandhyan Care. It's a private limited. If I talk about my journey, my background, it goes way back to 7th standard when I decided to be a psychologist. And it was very interesting how I decided to be a psychologist. So I used to see people around me. I come from a small town by the name of Allahabad. It's not a small town anymore. It's a smart city. So yeah, so I come from Allahabad, and I studied in a Catholic school. So you know how we are raised in Catholic school, right? And then I belong to a joint family where I saw a lot of people having different mindset, thinking about life and mind, human body in a very different manner. And that made me understand that, we need to be sensitive around mental health, mental well-being. People don't really take care of it, and people make fun of people who suffer from depression, or if they have something, it's difficult for them to understand what exactly the person is going through. And when I saw all of this, I thought that I am gonna be a psychologist. While my parents always spoke about being a doctor, I was like, no, that this is something that I'll switch. I'll give a twist to it, and I'll become a psychologist. Was a funny time when I decided to be. And so I started my journey back then, and started working on my own self. Became independent financially in 8th standard, where I used to give tuitions to people. One of my cousins and student is also here whom I have taught. So yeah, so I started earning in 8th standard. Post which, I realized that it was more of self-sufficiency than financial independence that I learned. It was more of learning connections with people that I learned. So a lot of things that I learned from being independent at that early age. And then 10th standard happened, where you have to choose subjects in 11th, and that was the time I was like, this is the moment I'm going to study psychology. I'll choose and fill the papers saying that psychology, here I come. And the moment I said that, my family went haywire. They're like, what are you saying? Who becomes a psychologist? You'll do psychology and you will just get married and do nothing with your life. How can you think like that? And it was really funny. So that's how I had to fight, create a lot of understanding between families and me, and I'll talk about it in detail later on. So yeah, that happened, and then somehow I entered psychology, the field of psychology. Post which there was never looking back, and it was just psychology all my life. Worked with Fortis Hospital and then Max Hospital for some time, because I knew that it's very important to understand clinical disorders before I go and talk about preventive mental health care. And so till 2014, I was associated with these hospitals, and then I started my own company. Initially, it was a normal company, and then I converted it into a private limited. So uh, now what I do is I work with individuals for their counseling and coaching, mentoring. And other than that, I work with Fortune 500 companies, where I address a lot of people, do group workshops and training sessions where I talk on various mental health topics, from stress to happiness to emotional intelligence to building value system and creating a lot of positive mental health blueprints for the organization. So this is what I do in just for the time being. Other than that, yes, there are educational institutes and management institutes. If they invite me to talk to the kids and the youth of the society, I definitely do that. And here and there, some news and media and celebrity counseling stuff. So that's me in short or in detail. Samrat, I took a lot of time to introduce myself.
Fine. Ever since you started psychology, तब से शुरू हुआ है, अभी तक खत्म नहीं हुआ है. उसके बाद आपने NLP कर लिया, आपने REBT कर लिया, Rational Emotive Behavioral Therapist. Then you're a keynote speaker. Then you are one of the 51 global happiness leaders recognized by HRD Congress. मतलब सब कर लोगे, हम क्या करें, मर जाएं? खुद ही सब कर लिया आपने, तो मतलब हमारे लिए कुछ बचा ही नहीं. All we know right now is psyche and logia. वो भी मैंने गूगल करके सीखा है कि psyche and logia are the two Greek words that where psychology has come into the picture. And trust me, people like us who has no clue about psychology, anybody is saying anything with psychology, we will say okay, it's a psychometric test जो एग्जाम में आता था, हमें पास करना होता है और उसको उसके ऊपर आपको जज किया जाता है, right? This is our limited knowledge being an amateur where we do not know anything. So तब से journey start हुआ है, and today you are founder of Mandhyan Care, right? You have founded your own organization, and the journey I'm sure has been tremendous. And you've been associated with multiple big brands. I mean, you've taken Max as an example. You are associated with American Express. तो सब कुछ कर लिया आपने, सब कुछ मतलब you are the most busiest psychologist that I have seen, because whatever little research that I do from my end before I could come to you and approach you, Sakshi, would you be a part of our talk show? So और कुछ करना बाकी है या फिर आगे का प्लान क्या है, थोड़ा ये बताइए. और क्या लिखने वाले हो? You are a psychologist, you are a therapist, you are everything. गरीबों के लिए कुछ छोड़ दो, हमें बताओ, हम कर लेंगे वो एटलीस्ट.
See, for Aage, I don't know. I am not a person who would plan really long term, to be honest. I know my goal that I want to work in the field of psychology and help as many people as I can. So I'm doing it every day, as in how it is coming. So definitely I'm doing that bit. But other than that, I don't have a big long-term goal, and I do not personally believe in having long-term goals, because I don't know what life will show me next. So as and when opportunities come in and I see that they make sense, it will be for the larger good and it will impact people positively, I'll pick and choose. But no long-term goal for me, at least as of now.
Great. By the way, जो नहीं जानते हैं, साक्षी का एक अलग साइड है, which I have discovered when I have started speaking to her. She loves sleeping. उनको दिन में 10 घंटे की नींद चाहिए होती है. अगर वो 10 घंटे की नींद उनको नहीं मिलती है, वो साइकोलॉजिकल प्रॉब्लम खुद को होना चालू हो जाता है. And I'm sorry I'm revealing this to the audience is because that's you as an individual, which is very important because this is not a gyan session, right? We are having a pep talk where we want engagement from audience. तो आप सबको सीरियस वो जो मुंह बना के बैठे हो ना, कोई ऐसे बैठा है, कोई ऐसे बैठा है, किसी को हंसने के लिए तकलीफ हो रही है, कोई बोला अच्छा हम इतने भी खूबसूरत नहीं है, इतने भी हैंडसम नहीं है कि बगल में छुप छुप के देख रहे हो. साक्षी is definitely blessed with a dimple. I think आपने ये शाहरुख खान से लिया है या फिर प्रीति जिंटा से लिया है? You have that amazing dimples which is very hard to find. इसके साथ happiness का क्या ताल्लुकात है साक्षी? If you just can let us know.
इसके साथ happiness का क्या ताल्लुकात है? I wouldn't know about happiness and dimple, but yeah, it definitely helps me to boast about happiness for sure. I'm blessed with a beautiful smile. I'm really grateful to my parents for giving me beautiful genes that they have. बट हैप्पीनेस का कोई ताल्लुकात नहीं है इससे. हैप्पीनेस का ताल्लुकात तो टोटली आपके माइंडसेट से है. हाउ यू लुक एट थिंग्स अराउंड यू, दैट ब्रिंग्स हैप्पीनेस टू यू एंड दैट विल ब्रिंग अ जेन्युइन स्माइल ऑन योर फेस. इफ यू हैव अ लेंस which sees good, which sees silver lining, you will be happy. If you have a lens which shows you roadblocks, which shows you stumbling blocks, you will see negativity around you. So it's a personal choice. Happiness is an emotion that comes to you and that goes away, but how you look at the life and the situations around you, that brings you happiness. So I usually say this quote everywhere. Like I think by now there are a lot of videos of mine where I have spoken of this quote by Steve Maraboli, which says that, you know, happiness is not the absence of problems, it's your ability to deal with them. So जिस तरीके का आपका देखने का नजरिया है मुसीबत को and problem को, that determines your happiness. How you would perceive a situation, perceive a person, perceive an event will determine your happiness, and that will determine how beautiful your smile will be, because everybody has a beautiful smile. It's not that they don't have, it's just that they don't use it often, especially, you know, because we have been told since childhood that, you know, you should be mature, you should be mature, you should be serious, you should take life seriously, you should you know, be responsible for the things. And because of these statements that we hear since childhood, we start associating seriousness of face to the decisions and life choices, whereas your smile has nothing to do with it. If you smile, in fact, you will make better life choices. You'll be you know, more happy in your entire you know, energy and aura. So yeah, that's how I perceive it. So it's basically, for me, happiness is just like my clothes. I gotta wear them every day. If I don't wear them, I don't think I can do without it. So wear your happiness like you wear your clothes, and I think that will help you to deal with situations really well.
That's a brilliant answer. Very, very nice and well put across. Thank you so much. And there's a reason people say that smile a lot, it doesn't cost you anything, right? It's free of cost. And if you smile, you always look good, no matter what. So, Sakshi, पहला सवाल, एंड आई वुड आस्क द ऑडियंस आल्सो, प्लीज डोंट फील शाय. अगर आपके दिल में भी कोई सवाल है तो आप प्लीज चैट बॉक्स में पूछ सकते हो, आप अपने हैंड रेज कर सकते हो. यू कैन जस्ट अनम्यूट योरसेल्फ एंड आस्क द क्वेश्चन, एंड Sakshi is here for this 1 hour with us to answer whatever questions that you will have. Now, happiness का हर किसी का अलग अलग definition होता है, right? Everyone has their own set of happiness. और there are days where जहाँ पे you feel very very low. I mean, कोई मतलब नहीं है उसका, कोई कारण नहीं है. You have a good life, you are able to eat thrice in a day or twice in a day, you have a good job, you have a stable life, you have a good family. But still there are days where you, especially when you are actually house arrest, like a situation like this was absolutely uncalled for, right? Isko pata nahi tha. And this is completely unprecedented. So no one had any clue about it. Now in this situation, staying happy has become really a struggle for a lot of people. And the situation and the news that we have heard, they are, I don't have words even to explain how shocking they are. Do you think that is also apparently driving a lot of people to stay unhappy? Now, in this volatile situation like this, what would be your recommendation to the audience, you being a happiness coach? किस तरीके से अपने ही ऐसे जिस situation में हम हैं, जहाँ पर भी है, because there must be a lot of people out here who are not exactly in their hometown. They're not with their family, right? They're not with your friends. We are social animals, we're humans, right? And we always need to be around. एक छोटा सा पार्टी हो गया, हाउस पार्टी हो गया, लंच में चले गए, डिनर में चले गए, वो सब बंद हो गया. right? And some people are party animals. They would like to go to a nightclub probably on a weekend and unwind and come back. वो सब कुछ जब जिसमें ताला लग गया है और सब कुछ जब बंद हो गया है, ये सिचुएशन में आपका क्या सजेशन होगा, and what would be your mantra for people to stay happy and lead a normal life the way probably it was a few months ago?
I'll tell you a very simple thing. When we talk of happiness, we associate happiness with some anchor. That anchor can be an event, that anchor can be a person, that anchor can be, some something in your environment. We anchor happiness to something. We never realize that anchoring happiness is a problem in itself, because understand, happiness is an emotion. How do I anchor it to something? How can I anchor an emotion to something? Because emotions keep on changing, right? They're never the same, they keep on changing. Then how do I anchor them? That's one thing that we should know, that you can't anchor happiness to something. It's an emotion which will come and go. The second thing that you should know is, if you stop anchoring it to anything, you will automatically realize that you don't need something to be happy. You in yourself, your existence in itself is happiness. Like, you are all hale and hearty and healthy. That's something which should be happiness for you, right? So that is where the second part comes. What is your belief around happiness? Like you said, happiness is subjective to everyone. So all of us who are attending this talk show today, to each of you, ask yourself, what is your definition of happiness? You can note this down and think and introspect on it, because that is how you will realize what is your anchor. Where are you putting expectations of happiness at? So for example, if someone thinks that, if I don't meet people, I'll not be happy. So you are basically anchoring your happiness on meeting people. And unless and until you meet them in person, you won't feel happy, right? So you have already anchored it, and that will create a lot of frustration, and it will make you feel helpless because you can't do that right now. Similarly, if you have created a definition of happiness where you say that, when I get things that I want to live a, luxurious life, then I'll be happy. When I'm able to be successful in my career, then I'll be happy. So everybody has a different, definition of happiness as per his goal, as per his requirement, and as per his phase of life. With every age, there's a different definition of happiness. And because of these definitions, we create disturbance for ourselves. So the best thing would be, stop creating definition of happiness. Understand that happiness is within you. You don't need anything from outside to get happy. So in this situation, we are really lucky that even in this situation, we are safe and we are still be able to talk to each other. It's not that we are completely devoid of people. We are not. We have technology to keep us going, to interact with everyone. Then where is the problem? Where is the problem? And how is any problem so big that it will put our morale down? It will impact our mental peace. That is the second question that you ask yourself. How is any problem so big? Because for me, like how I think personally, if I don't talk about subject knowledge, psychology knowledge, I feel that every situation is temporary. No situation is permanent. So if there is some issue today, it will go away tomorrow. And even if it doesn't go away tomorrow, my ability to look at it would change. Things will change. Why am I actually putting a clause to it? So that's another thing that you ask yourself. That will help you to keep a balance between your expectation and happiness. And in this especially in this difficult time, the only thing that you should expect right now is that you should be healthy. And if you are healthy, you are blessed, you should be happy. So this should be your goal right now, that I am happy because I am healthy. That's all that you need. If you have health, if you have money to buy essentials, if you have your family who are hale and hearty, what else do you need right now? If you have a job, everything is settled. If you are able to manage these pointers, you're good to go. Rest everything is complementary. Rest everything is a bonus. Now this sounds a little philosophical, but you asked me about my viewpoint, and that's how I see that. I need few basic things in my life: roti, kapra, makan. If I have these three things, I'm sorted. Whatever rest comes my way, it is a bonus for me. Comes, very happy. Doesn't come, really, I don't care. And when I say I don't care, I really mean it. So the this lockdown is very pleasant for me when I'm sitting at home. For me personally, I'm sure that a lot of people are suffering, and my blessings and my prayers are there for them so that they also get out of them soon. But for problems, you gotta deal with them, and unless and until you show that attitude that you're capable enough to not get shaken by the problems, that is the only time that you can stand tall in those moments. And I can say it from my experience because I have dealt with a lot of problems in my life personally. So from childhood, I have seen a lot of things, and it's only your attitude that can keep you going in the tough times.
So in the meantime,
That's
Shweta
what I'll
has
say.
a question. Shweta, you want to unmute yourself and ask the question directly to Sakshi, or you want me to read it out for you? Uh, Shweta, okay, I think Shweta is not. So Shweta has a question, Sakshi. She asked, there are times when everything is normal as yesterday, still one is upset from the moment you get up. When you don't even know the reason for feeling low, how to overcome this? This is a good question.
When you don't even know the reason for feeling low, how to overcome this? See, there is nothing that you don't know. Even in my Instagram post yesterday, I posted a very interesting post which said, don't say I don't know for your action. If you're saying I don't know for your actions, you will feel lost, you will have confusion, you will have a lot of confusion, chaos in your mind. So the idea is, whatever happens to us, we are aware of it, but we don't want to address it because it creates an anxiety in us, so we don't want to address it. So whatever we choose to do, whatever we choose to act upon, we know why we are doing it. It's just that a lot of times when it brings the feeling of sadness in us, or we feel low out of us, we don't acknowledge the reason. So the idea here is, if at all you see yourself from moment to moment getting upset, the first thing that you figure out is that what are you expecting out of your life. Why we feel low is because whatever we expect out of our life, we are unable to fulfill them. So if I've created a goal, for example, for me, if as a psychologist I say that I should be a number one psychologist in India by next year. Say if I create this goal for myself and it doesn't happen, of course I'll feel low because I've created a goal, one, that which is unachievable. I can't expect myself overnight becoming a rock star. Second, because I have expected something, it is not getting fulfilled, I'll feel low. So what happens is, you got to identify what is it that you are expecting out of your life which is not getting fulfilled. Things that don't go our way, they make us feel low. That is the first thing that happens. Anything that doesn't go your way, it will make you feel low. And more you do things which you don't want to do, that will make you feel low. So either you figure out why you don't want to do it, or you make peace with the things that you're doing. So everywhere, there will be certain you know actions that you would want to do. There are certain things, there are certain responsibilities that you love taking, but then with those responsibilities, there are certain things which you don't want to do or you don't like doing, but still you do them, right? So that's where you got to figure out that how are you actually addressing it. Whether um, is there a thing which is making you feel low, or is it your expectation? If the expectation is unrealistic, then set the expectation. So these are the two things that you do: figure out the goal, create the goal setting appropriately, do things that you like doing so that you are able to enjoy them and you don't feel low. And the third part is, do the expectation setting. You can't have unrealistic expectation. Like if I said like I gave the example, I can't think of being a rock star overnight. And if I'm expecting it to happen in 1 year, it is slightly, according to me, an unrealistic goal, because I know my capabilities and my potential. I know how much hard work I'll put and how much I won't put. So everybody is aware of his own virtues and areas of improvement. Accordingly, you please figure out your expectations and desires from life. If you're expecting anything beyond your capabilities, you will feel low. And as far as things in your control are concerned, like I said, that when you don't get things your way, understand that you can't control everything. You can't get everything your way. Even in psychology, there are certain aspects of psychology which I don't like. For example, report making. I say it a lot of times that I don't like making a report. It gives me a lot of anxiety. It gives me a lot of trouble that, oh my God, ye fir se aa gaya report. Kaun banayega? So I really get upset with it. But I know that, this also has some benefit in it. and I'm doing it for a purpose. So the idea is, out of everything that you like doing, there'll be one thing, a chota sa thing, which you may not like doing, but it is not necessary to like everything and do it. That's another belief that you put in your head, that not everything that you enjoy is something that you do. The certain things you do because you are supposed to do them, because there's some benefit out of it for your own existence. That's why you do it. So I hope that answers your question, Shweta, that how to feel better. So basically, managing your expectations in your mind is something that you do.
So Sakshi and everybody, अगर आप carefully सुन रहे हो तो आपके लिए ये संदेश है कि this is a free session. So ये call because we are getting a lot of questions. We have Shriya asking a question. We have Riya asking a question. We have Atul just responded. Great question, Riya. And we have Yogesh who has raised his hand. He wants to ask a question. So 40 minute में this session would drop. So our sincere request is we will continue with this for the next 20 minutes. However, आपको सिर्फ एक ही चीज करना है. जिस लिंक से आपने ज्वाइन किया था उसी लिंक पे दोबारा आप क्लिक करोगे तो यू विल बी बैक टू द सेशन. So please, if it drops, I will let you know right before 5 minutes. Okay, the session is going to end. My sincere request to everybody, please click on the same link and join back. Now coming to Shriya, your question. Shriya is asking Sakshi that there are instances when something from our past tends to bother us even though it does not mean anything anymore. How to get through that even if it bothers us after moving on. ये तो लग रहा है प्यार में रहने वाला सवाल है, जो जिन्होंने प्यार में आघात जिसको मिला था और वो शायद इस लॉकडाउन की पीरियड में मेरे साथ.
Not at all. Not at all.
I tell you, I
You
was.
shouldn't assume. You shouldn't assume, Samraj.
I'm telling you, I was about to ask you a question because I was thinking last night about my school childhood days when I first fell in love. I had a very childish love story, and I thought कि क्या हो गया, क्यों हुआ, ऐसे हुआ, and I felt low for at least good 15-20 minutes. Then I really had to rejig my thought and my head, and I had to go to the balcony and take a walk and take a quick stroll, and I was better. But Shreya, your question, I'm just trying to lighten the mood. Do not get me negative. But this is a very valid question. I think we all have this question in some form or the other in our life. So Sakshi, your answer to this question.
Absolutely. So see, past gives us two things. One is an emotional learning or an emotional experience, or second is a factual learning or a rational experience. So these are the two things that you get from your past. जब भी कोई पीछे आप मुड़ के देखोगे, या तो आपको कुछ एक पॉजिटिव लॉजिकल रैशनल चीज मिलेगा, या तो फिर एक इमोशनल एक्सपीरियंस मिलेगा. दे बोथ कैन बी पॉजिटिव और नेगेटिव, राइट? लर्निंग कैन, फैक्चुअल लर्निंग कैन आल्सो बी पॉजिटिव और नेगेटिव, एंड सिमिलरली इमोशनल learning or emotional experience can also be positive or negative. Now the idea is, how are you associating with the past? How are you thinking of the past? That is very important, right? So if you talk about the past event, understand what happened. You made a choice at that point in time, right? Or there was a situation that happened to you at that point in time. Now, situation can happen, a lot of variables are involved in it. You are not the only one who is involved. However, the consequence that come out of it and how you take the consequence is completely in your hand. So for example, अगर मैं मेरा relationship, I'm assuming relationship, I'm sure that ये किसी और reason से भी हो सकता है. I do not know the exact thing about the past. It can be a negative experience, it can be a trauma, it can be just a simple thing, you know, of a decision कि मैंने सोचा था career में ये करने का, पर मैंने वो ना करके कुछ नया career choose कर लिया. That can also be a past where, you know, I feel troubled. So anything around your past, the idea is at that point in time, whenever you're choosing something, you're choosing for the best of your interest. आप जो भी उस टाइम पे करते हो. सो इन हाइंडसाइट जब हम उसे देखते हैं तो हम थोड़ा उसे बढ़ा चढ़ा के सोचने लगते हैं और हम उसको थोड़ा एग्जैजरेट कर लेते हैं अपने माइंड में. इस वजह से इमोशन ज्यादा आ जाते हैं, और जितने ज्यादा इमोशंस आएंगे उतना ज्यादा डिफिकल्टी होगी उसको लेट गो करने में. सो लेटिंग गो का तरीका बहुत ही सिंपल है. पिक आउट द फैक्ट्स फ्रॉम द पास्ट कि फैक्ट क्या था. Stop creating stories in your mind. More you create stories, more it will be difficult for you to let go. Simple sa example यहाँ पे ये है that there was this young adult who came to me for a session, and he had relationship issue basically. He said that, you know, whosoever I really like, he abandons me. I mean, she abandons me. And I was like, really? How? They're like, yeah, I don't know what happens to the girl. She stops talking to me and she doesn't, respond. Initially, it looks like we are really in love with each other, and then suddenly the girl breaks up with me. I'm like, acha, how? And what exactly happens? So he told me about his entire story, and then I asked him that, tell me about your background. What about your mom and dad? How has your childhood been? So he told me, my father abandoned me. I said, really? When? He was like, when I was really young, my father abandoned me, and um, he didn't love me, which is why he abandoned me. I said, oh, is it? So what about your mom? You're like, no, no, my mom and dad got separated, and that's how, he abandoned us. Like, all right, so basically your mom and dad got separated when you were a kid. They're like, yes. So that was the fact, right? The fact was mom and dad got separated. They got separated for their own reason. It had nothing to do with abandoning the kid or not loving the kid. Two adults couldn't get along with each other, and so they got separated. The child created a story in his head that my father abandoned me because he didn't love me. And so it created a belief in him that, people abandon you. So don't love them so much because people abandon you. And so when he got into the relationships in the younger years, he whenever he would get close to a woman, he would start dreading it, and in that entire anxiety, he would run away from the person. Okay, and what he would do is he would stop interacting with the girl, and the girl would feel that, ye kya ho raha hai, matlab, maybe, he's not interested, and which is why he's not talking to me. So because of this entire episode, the girl would say that, okay, fine, I don't want to be with you, and the girl would break up because the guy is anyway taking a step back. Now, who was the abandoner here? The abandoner was the guy, because in his head he had already created the story in the childhood, and he was taking that along in the new relationships from in the present moment. So his past, where he exaggerated the story, he is taking it forward in the future, and he's impacting himself. So that's what happens, in our past. Whenever something happens, we create a story around it. We create something called subjective reality, whereas fact is completely different. So if you remember the fact, you will always be able to let go. And even if sometimes, you get the memories back, you can remind yourself of the fact. So for example, if you have had a bad relationship and you left the guy because he was abusive, now today if you miss him and you say, oh my god, I can't forget him, instead of you saying I can't forget him, ask yourself that, why did I leave him? I left him because he was abusive. That's the fact. It has nothing to do with love or no love. But I can't be with an abusive person. Similarly, why did you choose one subject over the other? Because at that point in time, maybe you thought this is the best for my career, for my uh, financial well-being, etc. So you have to remember the fact for which you took the decision. It will help you to let go of it easily. More you associate emotions, more you associate stories, more you will hang on to the past, and it will not let you go. It will bother you. And another thing that you should remember is, even when you are letting go of the past, let go of the positive memories also. A lot of you won't tell you this, but let go of the positive memories also, because what you do is, with positive memories, you create a benchmark कि मेरे साथ इतना अच्छा पास्ट में हुआ है, तो इतना अच्छा तो अभी भी होना चाहिए. We create a benchmark, and because of which you just can't take if something new comes your way. It becomes difficult for you to handle them.
And हमेशा ये कहा जाता है कि अच्छे लोगों के साथ हमेशा अच्छा होता है, तो हम सब अच्छे हैं, और trust me, अगर आप अच्छे हो तो आपके साथ हमेशा अच्छा होगा. With this, we come back in the next session, because this is not a sponsored by, this is not a powered by, this is not a, this hour is brought to you by. This is a simple talk show on Zoom, so we would request all of you to please drop off and join back on the same link within 20 seconds or 10 seconds. We are back. Sakshi, please join back.
Yeah, I'll join back again. So should I leave and then come back here? And the questions which are pending?
Yes, we will take this. I told them already.